I know the senator has a question.
Mr. President, Mr. President,
Mr. President, I have not yielded the floor.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President, I want the regular order.
First of all, no Arizona for a question.
Maybe the senator from Kentucky should know the rules of the Senate, that and gentleman has the floor and is open to response to a question. My question is to the senator from Indiana, and I want to say that his words are powerful and accurate.
Mr. President, how much time remains on the clock for the Republican side?
I ask the senator from Indiana.
Mr. President,
if he has seen.
How much time is remaining?
I asked for the regular order, President.
I think the chair's made very clear that the senator from Indiana has the floor.
Mr. President, I thank you. I know the senator from Kentucky understands that when the senator has the floor, they're entitled to speak. He's used that rule himself.
Twice the senator from Kentucky has not observed the rules of the Senate.
Under previous order,
Mr. President,
all time for debates expired.
Mr. President, my understanding is there's still 5 minutes remaining on the opposition side, and I request that time. Mr. President.
Is there objection?
I object.
How can we have an objection when we already have a consent agreement that says we have 30 minutes of equally divided time and you still have 5 minutes remaining on the opposite side, Mr. President?
The 5 minutes of time that was allotted to the Democrat side was unused, and it was equally divided at 23 minutes apiece.
Mr. President, I was here for 30 minutes of the Republican side speaking. I sat in my seat for 30 minutes, so there was not 23 minutes of equally divided time.
President, let's have the regular order. But obviously, people don't know the rules of the Senate. Maybe they should learn off the
Mr.
floor.
President, I request the remaining 5 minutes of time on the opposite side.
Is there objection to the request of the senator from Kentucky?
I object.
Mr. President, I challenge the ruling of the chair and request the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There doesn't. There is not a sufficient second.
Mr. President, I request a live quorum call.
The clerk will call the roll.
I ask unanimous consent to call off the live quorum call to speak for 5 minutes remaining, as was requested previously and as was under the consent.
Consent is not in order in a quorum call.
She just wants you to call off the quorum and then ask for consent.
Mr. President, I ask consent to call off the quorum call.
Is there objection? Without objection, you may proceed.
Mr. President, I ask consent to speak for 5 minutes, the 5 minutes that was remaining on the opposition side.
The senator from Kentucky can proceed.